Technology anarchy is when there's a lot of autonomy for teams without a lot of technical alignment. Engineers have the freedom to make their own technology choices without any rules. Sounds great, doesn't it? It sounds like teams will be able to go super fast. But in anarchy, you can make choices that are good for your team, yet bad for the organization as a whole. And a microservices platform that encourages anarchy, well, I've seen that before. It doesn't produce good outcomes at scale. So if the answer isn't platform engineering with no rules, what is the answer? Well, spoiler alert, the answer isn't platform engineering with lots of rules either. So what should we do instead? Hello and welcome to the channel. If you haven't already subscribed, be sure to do so now. That way you can stay up to date with all the cool stuff that's happening here. I'm Steve Smith. I'm Cornish and I'm the Global SVP of Technology at Scale at Equal Experts. I'll be your host for today. I'm afraid Dave Farley isn't available. He's lost a bet to me, again, so now he's out in my garden, building me a new rockery full of colourful alpine plants. When I talk about technology anarchy, I'm talking about giving delivery teams the autonomy they need to make their own technology choices, but not giving them the technical alignment they need to make good choices for the organisation as a whole. We can say anarchy is the same as low alignment, high autonomy. In a platform engineering context, technology anarchy means that the platform is unopinionated, it gives teams lots of options, and it tries to be everything to everybody. An easy example of what technology anarchy looks like is with deployment pipelines. Let's assume there are 3 teams in an organization, and there's no rules from the engineering leadership on what tech stack should be used, so each team makes its own choices. Team 1 uses Java, Team 2 uses Python, Team 3 uses Scala, and you would find me on Team 1. The platform uses GitHub for version control and deployment pipelines. With 3 teams using 3 different tech stacks, the platform can't provide the pipeline for them. There's only low-level pipeline support, and each team builds its own pipeline on top of that low-level support. 3 teams, 3 tech stacks, 3 pipelines. You've guessed it. That means 3 different sets of test environments, 3 quirky deployers, all with their own inefficiencies, 3 different lots of end-to-end testing insanity. You can't escape Conway's law. If the pipeline for Team 3 breaks, the platform team can't help Team 3. They don't know Scala. They didn't build the pipeline. Teams 1 and 2 can't help Team 3 either. So the resolution for pipeline failure could be longer than desirable. If Team 2 needs more engineers temporarily to hit a deadline, Team 1 and Team 3 can't easily loan some engineers. The Java and Scala engineers might not know the Python tech stack. They might not want to learn it in a short period of time. And if the entire organization needs to migrate from GitHub to GitLab, that can't be done in a central fashion with a single migration process. There's going to be 3 separate, slow, awful migrations. When your platform is built for technology anarchy, it's low level, unopinionated, it's not much more than raw Terraform scripts in places. It's providing some value to your delivery teams, it's accelerating them a bit, but the out-of-the-box offering can only go so far. And platform engineering is about accelerating delivery teams without giving them too much extra work. And technology anarchy creates so much unplanned tech work for delivery teams because they have to build their own pipelines, their own observability dashboards, their own alerts, their own everything. There's a lot of cognitive load, there's no economies of scale, and that's a lot of capacity spent by the teams on something other than planned product features, something other than delivering value to your customers. Here's a couple of badly anonymized examples. I visited a British telco. They told me they had 20 teams doing you build it, you run it on GCP, which sounded great. I'm a huge advocate for you build it, you run it. It's a logical extension to continuous delivery. But when I got to the company and went into their office, their team boards didn't show a lot of progress. Nobody was sure why. I asked to meet with the platform team to have a chat with them. I was told there was no platform team, and that was when I started to get a little bit scared because 20 teams without a platform team were doing GCP in 20 different ways, which suggested there was a lot of unplanned tech work happening in plain sight. I suggested to a delivery manager they run a brief survey to measure unplanned tech work just to get a rough estimate for it. It was a Google Form survey with one question for each engineer. How much time as a percentage of the last week do you think that your team spent configuring GCP? And I warned the delivery manager, if the answer was more than 10% across the majority of teams, they would need a platform team. Answers ranged from 40 to 60%. The delivery manager was horrified. And I know of head of engineering at an American retailer. She had 10 teams with 10 very different RabbitMQ messaging setups. A new architect joined the company and decided everyone should be using Kafka for messaging consistency. That meant that 10 teams had 10 separate migrations to Kafka. And as I explained in my previous video on this channel, Kafka is a power tool. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot to maintain. There's a lot that can go wrong. So this whole process for this American retailer, it took months, and morale took a really big hit. The technology anarchy problem happens when you unnecessarily sacrifice alignment to give your teams autonomy. And it's all usually a counter-reaction to someone's past horrible experience of technology autocracy. You might or might not have experienced anarchy in the software industry before, but I bet you've experienced technology autocracy before. It's much more common, I'm afraid. Autocracy is when an organization has a lot of ironclad rules on technology. A few engineering leaders have to approve everything you do. Perhaps one manager or one architect has to sign off on every design blueprint, every possible little change you might want to make. And they're only available for an hour a week to review changes, so you have to sit around waiting for them. There's zero freedom in autocracy for engineers to make their own technology decisions, no matter how small or how large. And platform engineering can be used to enforce autocracy, I'm sorry to say. It can control an entire tech stack from top to bottom, not just the programming language, but also the web framework, the build tools, the container, the libraries, the third-party dependencies, the types of design patterns that are used. It really sucks when platforms are built in this way. So technology anarchy usually happens because somebody has experienced autocracy and they don't want it to happen again, because they know that when there's high alignment and low autonomy, it can only result in slow delivery. So they jump to the opposite. They jump from autocracy to anarchy. They jump from high alignment, low autonomy to low alignment, high autonomy. And that's because they believe those are the only choices in town. They have to trade them off. That's not true. You can have high alignment and high autonomy. You can express alignment as context, not as command and control. You can express alignment as guidance, not as rules. This is the secret sauce behind the Spotify model. Give engineers the necessary context to make good technical decisions and then trust them to do it. All right, so you've built a platform for technology anarchy. You're seeing delivery teams spending all of their time maintaining their own pipelines, their own dashboards, their own alerts. Maybe that guy who just wants a nice rockery, maybe he was talking some sense. How do you get out of this? How do you solve the technology anarchy problem? You build contextual technical alignment into opinionated paved roads that dramatically accelerate delivery teams, that allow them to make independent decisions all in the same direction of travel. You ask your engineering leaders for three things: their guidance on tech stack and architecture, their expectations of how that guidance will be followed, and their anticipated business consequences for the whole organization if their expectations aren't met. Please emphasize that it's all about business consequences when you talk with people about this, not about consequences for the individual. That would be very uncool. Once you have that precious technical alignment, you capture in decision records. Maybe you make the machine readable. You build opinionated platform capabilities that are based on those decision records, that incorporate that technical alignment. You really bake it into the platform. And then you trust teams to use that contextual alignment in their own solutions, and you periodically verify that that trust was earned. Here's that pipeline example again. Let's say engineering leaders have issued guidance that all teams are to use a Python tech stack unless they face exceptional circumstances, which triggers a conversation. Because for this particular organization, in its industry sector and geographic location, it's easier to recruit and train up Python engineers. So the platform team creates a build and deploy platform capability that's based on a single GitHub pipeline template based on a single Python tech stack. All teams have to use the same template. And the good news is it specifies one test environment only, live observability dashboards instead of lots of end-to-end testing, and it gives you canary deployments. On top of that, it takes care of all the compliance and auditing concerns for all teams straight out of the box. If the pipeline breaks for any delivery team, The platform team can fix it once and for all teams, because they own the pipeline and they know it inside out. If a team needs to borrow engineers from another, that's possible because everyone has a similar tech stack. And if the organization needs to migrate from GitHub to GitLab, that can be handled by the platform team centrally because, again, similar repositories with similar tech stacks. And if an engineer on a delivery team doesn't like the pipeline template, if they think there's another way that should be done, then they should be able to debate this with the platform team respectfully in a safe space for everyone, and even join that team if they want to contribute in a meaningful way to the future platform direction. There's a big positive impact here because there's no end-to-end testing insanity, faster deployments, and fewer pipeline failures. This is what it means for platform engineering to be an accelerant for delivery teams, to push them faster without giving them lots of extra work as a side effect. And yes, there's higher platform costs here. You can't accelerate teams and give them less work without taking on some more work in the platform team. And that's an okay trade-off to make. It's better that one team takes a hit than 20. Next time I'm here, I'll cover another platform engineering problem. But first of all, Dave has to finish that rockery in my garden, and those flowers had better bloom on time. Thanks for watching.